So, thank you so much for your presentation. I think it was eye-opening for everyone about the SDGs and what Danish industry is actually doing, because you're doing a lot of things and you're working with so many companies, more than 7,000. So that's I guess not that easy to coordinate that. Okay, where you actually stepping into the business. So we have some questions. Um, oh, there's a funny one. Okay, but then let's start with some serious talk. So, why do you find private company sectors so important in the change towards sustainability?
Why we find the different sectors important?
You mentioned in the presentation private sectors. I think you
Yeah, yeah,
bit
exactly. Why?
highlighted it.
Because they're the one that usually provides the solutions, right? So they're the one that has all the green solutions, the technology, the yeah, the tools to actually provide solutions. I would say.
Okay, and then do you find the SDGs as a must to include in business models of the future businesses?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely a must. It's a hygienic factor more than it's anything else, really. I think a lot of companies hasn't realized that yet, but it will be. We can see now. Previously, we had CSR managers running around in the company, knocking down doors because they wanted to have input from different departments. Right now, it's the other way around. It's the commercial leaders, it's the CEOs that comes to the CSR asking for, can we get some more data on this, and what are we doing here? Can you report and measure what kind of tools and measurements do we have on this and this, right? Because the customers are demanding this now. So the game has changed completely within only a few years. So it's so important that companies are up to date on this and are actually thinking this way when they do all their investments and activities.
But then, do you see that the change is more coming from the end consumers, or it's the companies who realizing this by themselves, slowly but steadily, or how do you see the changes coming forward?
It it is. We thought when we started this up that it would be very much driven by regulation and increased regulation, right? But it's and legislation, but it's actually not. It's a lot of them are realizing that the future customers and the customers are starting to focus on these parameters too. So it's very much customer driven actually. And then some of the companies, to be perfectly honest, are just very visionary. A lot of them are also doing it because they know it's a very good way to attract employees and create employee commitment, which is something that is very important here in Denmark. And then we have some that just simply thinks that it's their they have to do it. It's a responsibility really to make a change.
And then maybe like some thoughts about the fact that you actually stood behind this Green Impact Week the whole week. I mean, we had the opening at your place, and we learned so much about the whole building and the whole organization. How do you actually help other companies and other like visionaries in this sustainability? So maybe a word on that. That how do you find these ideas, and how do you select which one to support, or as a consultancy you just help whoever you can, or how does this work?
In general, I think that we have, like in the DI, we are 850 employees working with so many different sectors and so many different, we have so many expertise areas. In all these expertise areas, whether it's energy or it's waste management or it's transportation or whatever, food, it's something that's really relevant for all of them. So all of these sectors are naturally looking into this to this whole agenda, right? And apart from that, we are working in my department. We're working a little more overall with different sectors, and we are looking into where can we make most biggest contribution, but also which companies are hungry to actually change their game, right? So we also, it's very demand driven in our part of the organization too. So it's a little bit different depending on where in the organization we are, but it's a very high priority at the top management level at DI too, that we're focusing on this whole green transition. Also because it's a huge competitive factor for companies, but also because we do believe that we have these innovative forces that we have an obligation, to be perfectly honest, we have an obligation as Danish companies and the Confederation of Danish Industry to facilitate this whole transition.
But thank you so much for your answers, and thank you so much for being with us here and presenting. I hope we managed to answer most of the questions from the panel discussion, and we really hope to see you next year
Yeah.
as well. And thank you for supporting idea, and I think it's a huge message for towards sustainability itself, that we are in the right path, and and we are trying our best. And there are big corporations like you who are actually noticing this and supporting this. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely, and thank for your contribution to it. It's an amazing setup you've done throughout this week. So thank you for that too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.